Hi guys, this is your instructor Ashish. I am recording this video for the week 7 where you will have to do some programming assignments for chapter number 3. So if I may show you the content of week 7, you will notice that as we did in week 5, there was a assignment aid video I provided for chapter 2. For chapter 3 assignment, which will be due in week 7, by March 8th, you will have a chapter 3 assignment. And when you see week 7, you will have an assignment 8 show up here as well. If we click on it, we will see that you have to do two assignments, the exercise 2 and 3 listed on page 181 and 182 of the textbook. These are the two exercises you have to do for week 7 assignment. I have the ebook open, and if you take a look at it, there are two assignments or two exercises you have to do, the number 3 and the number 2, which is right above that. It spans across 2 pages and it says consider the following program in which the statements are written in incorrect order. Rearrange the statement so that the program prompts the user to input the height and the radius of the base of a cylinder and outputs the volume and surface area of the cylinder. So we are asking user for two things, the height and the radius, and we are displaying the user two things, the volume and the surface area. Format the output to 2 decimal places. So what we got here, folks, is a jumbled up code, and we are going to fix this code from this point onward until the second page, which or the subsequent page all the way until here. So this is the code we are going to fix up by unjumbling it or arranging it properly. To get the job started, we'll click on the start button, and depending on the IDE, the software you are using, you may please open Visual Studio Express, Eclipse or CodeLight on your computer. I shall mention the path that I'm showing is on a Windows computer for Visual Studio Express, and it opens up as you see right here. As I have mentioned in my prior video, you shall click on new project for every assignment, and I will do the same. We click on new project. We would like Visual C++, Windows 32 console application, and it shall be saved in this location. We must be very careful about the location because that's where our code will go. And to give it a proper name, we shall say week 7 underscore exercise 2 or something like that, which will help you remember what you're doing and where your code is, what name you have given. We'll press the OK button, and we are prompted to select a couple of things. Let's press the next button. This is Visual Studio specific information I'm showing you. If you're using Eclipse or CodeLight and you're having trouble, reach out to me and I'll help you with the software as well. We want to have a console application, and we would like an empty project. So let's uncheck these two and check the empty project. This is extremely important that you do it, otherwise you will not be able to write your code properly. We'll press the finish button and let the Visual Studio do its job of setting up an empty project. By default, you shall have nothing shown up here. You will have an area here called Solution Explorer and an area underneath called Properties. If these two boxes are not shown, you may go to View, click on Solution Explorer, and use this thumb pin to pin it down. Make sure this pin is down. If it's not down, it should be horizontal. Click on it and it will become down. What this would do is it will remain there forever. The property shortcut is also under View. It's the wrench symbol. When you click on Properties, you will see this box show up, and you shall also pin it down. Our project is automatically part of a solution, and the project has nothing. These folders are completely empty. We would like to create a source file. That's what we call in programming language for writing code, a source file. We will right click on it and choose add a new item. When we choose a new item, we are asked to say what kind of new item you want. We would like Visual C++, C++ file with a .cpp extension, and it's going to be saved right in there, all these folders, and I shall give it a name, exercise 2, a simple and easy name. Press the add button, and we shall see that in our Solution Explorer, now there is an entry with exercise2.cpp. The file is open. It has no code in it. It looks entirely empty. I have changed my zoom level to 130 so you guys can see my code nice and easy. If this is closed, no problem. We can always double click on it and reopen it. All right. Now, the next thing we shall do is we need to type the code that is in the textbook. Because I have an ebook, I have a little bit of liberty to copy and paste the information from the ebook into the Visual Studio. So I'm just copying it and pasting it in the Visual Studio interface one line after another. If you do not have the ebook, I am sorry, but you will have to write this and type it up perhaps one after another. I'm just moving my mouse and using edit and paste to paste the code. So this exercise does not require any coding. We just have to rearrange the information. We are just arranging so that we have a proper written code which accepts two things, the height and the radius, and displays two things, the volume and the surface area of the cylinder. So let's get started. As you recall, for chapter 2, the very first line in our code should always be the include statements. So we are skimming through the code to find any include statements, and as I noticed, there is one on line number 21. This particular line is an include statement and it should be present at the very top. So you may choose to say, hey, highlight this line back to back. Use the edit cut option, which is Control X key, and you may create one empty line and at position 3, and you may use edit and paste, which is Control V shortcut, and we see that all right. Now I have my include statements lined up. As you remember from last chapter assignment, the next line should be using. This is the using line. We will highlight it using Control X. We will cut it from that position and we will paste it after the include line. Why are we doing? Because this is how we must write our code to begin with. All the include should be on the top. The order of include doesn't matter. IOStream could be last, IOStream could be first, CMath could be second, CMap could be first or third. It really does not matter. Why are we using this using line? We are saying that I'm using 3 libraries provided by the C++ creators, and within those libraries I am referring to the standard section. So therefore I am putting this suffix or this namespace to say whenever I type something such as this cout, I do not ask me to type std : cout, because I have written this line which makes my life easier for writing the subsequent line in my code below. Every C++ code should be part of an int main function. It shall read exactly like this, the word int in blue color if you are using Visual Studio, and main as you see here with an open curly brace and a close curly brace. Everything else should go inside that. We have an open and close right after one another. Let's delete the close curly brace and move it at the far end so that we have everything else inside the 2 curly braces. Then we see that we have a double height, cout volume of the cylinder as a string, another extraction insertion operator which is 2 less than symbols, pi multiplied by POW. POW is the function, part of the C math header library. Even if you don't know what it is, we shall ensure that there are no squiggly lines in our code. So we are attempting to resolve these squiggly lines, these lines that are causing an application to not compile properly. But it doesn't hurt to know that POW is power. We are saying to calculate volume, we shall multiply the symbol pi or the number pi with the square of radius. To do square of radius, we are raising the radius to the power 2 using the pow function and multiplying that with height to calculate the volume. Hey, all that is fine. However, we need to first get the values from the customer before displaying the volume. So we shouldn't be having the cout statement right like this. This is something that should be in the end of our code. Similarly, the surface area in order to have the volume, first we need to accept something from the user. What's given in the question? Let's take a quick look at it. The question, if you remember, it said we must prompt the user to input height and radius. So we shall accept the height and radius from the customer. We shall remember, when we are accepting something from the customer, we need to have the variables declared ahead of the time. So we have the double height variable, we have the double radius down below. So once again, we will move the order of these lines so that they are in the right position. We are having a set of lines here which says cout enter the height of the cylinder, cin accept the radius, and are we supposed to have height go in the radius? That doesn't sound right. We need to say after this line we shall have cin height, because the height should go in the height variable. I'm just selecting the text and dragging it to the right location. So don't be concerned how am I doing it. After getting the height, we shall ask the user to enter the radius. So we shall have the height followed by the radius, right guys? And there should be an empty line in between so that it is easy for the customer to see the difference, the information for the height and the radius in different lines. And then we have the height accepted by the user, the radius accepted by the user as well. Once we have it, we need to calculate the volume and the surface area. In my case, I am saying if we accept the height first and radius next, or vice versa, it doesn't matter. If we display the volume first and surface area later, or vice versa, it really doesn't matter. What about this return 0? Every function, if it has the type in front of it, a data type in front of it, that tells what kind of information it should return. In our case, the main function should return an integer. Therefore, this line return 0. 0 is a good state of affairs, as you may have read in your chapter 2 readings, that if we have this return 0, it is great. Even if we don't have it, it's fine. However, to be correct, we shall have it as the last line right before the closing parenthesis. You can have any amount of white spaces in between. You can have lines, white lines, empty lines to read out your code properly. So don't be concerned if I have put spaces in between, just to make the code read easy for you. Once we have the height and the radius accepted, we shall display the volume to the customer. So let's highlight this 13 and 14 and drag it after the radius is been accepted. And then we shall calculate the surface area and display it back to the customer. Hey, but you see the squiggly line? It says identifier pi is undefined. There is no detail about this pi as far as we can see. So what should we notice? There is a constant being declared. It's of type double and the name is pi and the value is 3.14159. This line should be ahead of where it is used. We shall move it in front of the line where this word pi is used, so that the code knows when it runs the line 22 that pi is nothing but a constant which will be which is of type double and will have this value throughout the application. We display the volume to the customer, we display the surface area, and we notice that, hey, there is something C out in the middle. We shall probably move it after the radius, so that once the user has entered the radius, another line should show up prior to displaying of volume, because this end line will display an empty line to the customer, allowing this text to show up in a new line. There is an end line here, which means surface area will show up in a new line all by itself. So pretty much everything seems okay, no squigglies. But we were told in the exercise that format the output to 2 decimal places. So we shall use the manipulator, the C output or output manipulator. That means we shall use this line, which is to say, before displaying anything to the customer, set my output properly. And what do I mean by setting? Fixed. That means any numbers I display, don't show them in scientific notation. Show them with all normal decimals. What is this show point? It is to say, if there is anything a whole number, I don't care. Even if it is a whole number like a 1, 2, 10, 11, 15, show them with the point. And how many points? 2 precision points. So everything will have 2 precision points afterward. At this juncture, our code doesn't seem to have any particular squiggly lines. We shall run it and just test it out before submitting this one file to on the canvas. You can submit this exercise 2.cpp or whatever name you give, or you can submit the whole compressed version of this entire solution by going to this location on your computer, wherever you see. Highlight the project, and the path of the project will be nice and cleanly displayed. You can open Start, Documents, and you can navigate your folders to say within C drive I have a users folder and a Pagare folder, and documents folder and stuff like that. Okay, and you can travel through the folders that you have where your application or the project is being saved with the proper name, as you see right here. This is what you can compress, send to compress file. And because my project is currently open, it's kind of creating a little trouble. But inside this, we have our solution, we have our project. And inside project, we have this one tiny little file. This is the file that we need and that I need as your instructor to review your code. That's all, okay? But before any of that, let's run it by using debug and start without debugging. And let's say we will say the height of the cylinder is 10. And how much is the radius? Let's say 1, 1 inch, say for example, and 10-inch tall. The volume of the cylinder will be 31.42, surface area 69.11. There is empty lines in between, which is making our code read easier. And we have press any key to continue. If you want, you may use one of the calculators on google.com and try to make sure that the volume and area you are seeing here is correct by having by looking up the same numbers on an online calculator to generate the volume and surface area of a cylinder. So this is one project. At this time, I will just click on Save All button and close my solution. We will start the next solution. So we will go to File, New Project, Windows Win32 console application, C++ programming language, and we will say week 7, exercise 3. I suppose the other exercise you need to do is exercise number 3, which is listed on the next page. And that is the exercise 3. Write a program that prompts the user to enter the weight of a person in kilograms and output the equivalent weight in pounds. Output both weights rounded to 2 decimal places. And note that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Format your output with 2 decimal places. So we need to format our output with 2 places after the decimal symbol. To get the job done, we will create our project. We will say I need an empty project, please, and it's a console application. That means it will look like that black and white window. No fancy stuff, and finish it. The project has been created. The solution folder is empty. We'll add a new item of the type .cpp and we will give it a name exercise 3.cpp. We'll click the add button and our code is opened up. Nothing is written. First line, include. we should include IO stream because we will be accepting information from the customer and displaying information to the customer. We should include IO manip, which is what you read in chapter 3. Chapter 3 was about input and output, but also about more formatting it properly. And IO manip is the header file which enables us to format the output and to kind of tweak the input. These exercises which I have assigned doesn't really ask you to do anything about input formatting, but only about output formatting, such as displaying the information in 2 decimal places and stuff like that. We will using namespace std so that we will use a simple cin and cout going forward. We will have our int main function written and we will start the work. We would like the user to give us the weight in kilograms. So we may say there is a variable I need to capture the weight of the user in kilograms and another in pounds. So kilogram weight and pounds weight. How about that? Okay. And a pound, let's just be singular so that they look same. And we have two variables we have declared. As you saw in the textbook, 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So why not use the const, which is constant double kg to pounds is equal to 2.2. Why am I doing that? I am declaring a constant which is 1 kilogram to pound conversion, and 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. So kinda giving it a name like this. The name is up to us. I happen to give it a name like this. You may say, can I put underscores to make it easy on my eyes? Sure. And hey, by the way, we should not expect the user to always type the kilograms in integers. What if the kilogram or the weight of the person in kilogram is 10.7 or 18.9 or something like that, a decimal? So I am changing these variables to be of type double. To display a prompt to the customer, we will use the cout operator and say enter your weight in kilograms, and we shall have a semicolon with a cn operator and extraction symbols, which is the greater than symbols. We will use kilogram weight, so that the weight entered by the customer is entered into this variable of type double by the name kilogram weight. Next step would be to calculate the weight equivalent in pounds. So we shall say pound weight is nothing but kilogram weight multiplied by kilogram to pound conversion. If 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, then 10 kilograms would be 10 times 2.2 pounds, right? So that's what we are doing mathematically. And now what we need to do, we need to display the information back to the customer. But we were told that we shall display the output with 2 decimal places. So we should not forget that. To set our output for displaying everything in 2 decimal places, we will use cout less than symbols. We will say I want to use the fixed format, that is, I don't want scientific format or anything. I always want to show point no matter what, show the points after decimal, and I want to set the precision to 2 places. That is what's been told. I have written all this in one line, but if you choose, you can write just like this, or you can say, hey Ashish, I'm going to use individual cout lines as I am doing, and you are welcome to do that. Both of those approaches are exactly same, one this or together. After we do that, we will say cout your, we are just displaying a text to the customer, your weight in kilograms is another less than symbol, and we will say kg weight, and we will say let's end the line so that the next line will start afresh in another line, and we will say your weight in pounds is pounds weight, end line. With these lines of code, we may type return 0 to give the signal to the underlying C++ engine that my application is exiting successfully. 0 is a success code, -1 may be a failure code. These are written or provided in the chapter 2 text that you may read from the textbook. This is the code we need to write for the exercise number 3 for week 7 assignment. The second exercise we may plan to start without debugging to make sure the code runs successfully. And let's give simple numbers. My weight is 10 kilograms, for example, and it says your weight in kilogram is 10.00. It's using fixed format, 2 places after decimal, and even though the number has no decimal initially, it is still showing you 2 places. When we multiply 10 with 2.2, we know that it will be 22, which is what's shown, and press any key to continue is present. At this point, we have written the code for exercise 3 as well as exercise 2. The code should be located in the proper folder on your computer. If you want, you may just submit the .cpp files for exercise 3 and exercise 2 on Canvas as you have done in past. I hope this was useful. If you need more help, please reach out to me through cell, which is on the home page of our Canvas website, or email.